Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be, I lost my dream girl because I was being too nice. Well, I've got an email here from a guy who, believe it or not, in the last 2 years, he's been following my work. He read my book, my first book, How to Be a 3% Man, twice. But he says he's watched lots and lots and lots of videos. And so obviously he writes me because he did the opposite of what the book teaches. And I think it's a great email because he goes through and he details exactly what he did. And I mean, it's so predictable that he turned this girl off, and now he's obviously in a lot of pain because she broke it off with him. And it's funny, even towards the end of the email, she gives him an explanation as to why. It kind of makes sense, but really doesn't, because he's not accepting the fact of his behavior is what's actually turned her off. So this is a good email to learn what not to do if you want to attract women into your life. So I've got a quote that I wrote, and then we're going to go through his email. The quote says, "When a man tries too hard to win a woman's attention and validation, he is continually communicating that he doesn't think that he is worthy. This is the opposite of masculinity, being brave, courageous, direct, and decisive. Women are attracted to men who are confident. They are turned off by men who consciously and unconsciously communicate a lack of confidence in themselves and what they bring to the table. If you believe and act like you are unworthy of a woman's love, eventually she will agree and reject you." It's too bad. I hate seeing these emails, but it's like people don't listen. They don't take me serious. They kind of half-ass things in life. And it's not just in their personal life. It shows up in their career, how they take care of their body. It's like the average person is just mediocre and lazy. And now that this guy is in pain, and a lot of pain, now this is when he's really kind of open to go, okay, maybe I really should have listened to what you said. Maybe I should have read the book 10 to 15 times. Don't be like this guy. That's the whole point of going through these emails. So you can learn from it. And you can see, if you're familiar with the book, you can kind of see the slow train wreck, the slow car crash in motion as it happens in real time. So he says, "Hi, Coach. I've been following your work for almost 2 years now. I've read the book 4 times. Okay, so it wasn't 2 times, it was 4 times. Yes, it wasn't enough. And I've been listening to your YouTube videos almost every day for the past 2 years. Well, how many times have you heard me say in videos, the videos are not a substitution for learning the fundamentals in the book. Serious students are going to learn the fundamentals. And people are lazy and want to half-ass it and looking for shortcuts. You might get some attainable success initially, but it won't be sustainable. And you'll see this guy gets some sustainable success out of the chute, but it quickly goes south because this girl obviously was really into him at first. That's why he was able to screw up so much and get away with it, and at least initially. He says, "I never thought I'd be the one desperately seeking your advice, but love has driven me to do so. Well, as Confucius said, success depends upon prior preparation. Without said preparation, there is sure to be failure. You didn't listen to Confucius, and you're Chinese. Confucius is he's like the man in China. And you didn't even listen to Confucius." He says, "I'm a good-looking man in his mid-30s living in China. I'm coming to you because I just went through a breakup with the girl of my dreams. I paid the ultimate price for not performing your teachings properly. And for the first time in my life, I want to get this ex back, and I desperately need your advice." Well, if that describes you, that means the first thing you can do to help yourself, because you got to participate in your own rescue, is you got to read How to Be a 3% Man. And then when you get to the end of it, read it again. If you're listening to the audiobook, listen to it again 10 to 15 times, because when you go through it that much, you get to know it backwards and forwards to the point where you don't have to think about it anymore. Because when we read something, when we hear something, when we watch something, we're going to retain maybe 8 to 10% of it. And the stuff that's in here is a mindset, there's fundamentals, there's techniques, there's strategies, there's a philosophy, there's mindset. And all that stuff works together. But you have to put the time in to learn it. And obviously this guy didn't put the time in. I met a girl who's a 10 out of 10 on a dating app. The sort of girl I've been searching for years. These staying, you get 2, maybe 3 of these a decade, bro. Sucks for you, but... He says, I'm supposed to start my grad school in the States, but I got to stay in my home country and take remote classes until the end of the year due to COVID-19. I could do a whole video on that fucking bullshit. Oh, man. So just a little tidbit, the CDC over the weekend just revised their COVID stats. And so now only about 6% of the people that died from COVID, actually that was all they had. All the other 94% of people that died from COVID had, I think it was 2.6 comorbidities. Meaning they are old, they had all kinds of other health problems, and they didn't really die directly because of COVID. They died because it was just in addition to all the other problems that they had. And so they revised these stats down, and people are just... It's all over Twitter right now. You're probably in about a week or two you'll hear about it on the mainstream media. But it's pretty fucking appalling. I mean, we basically nuked our economy over something that, if you're healthy, it's not going to affect you at all. It's such a tragedy. On our first date, I told her honestly that I might leave for the States next year, but told her that I was willing to do whatever it takes to make a relationship work if I met the right one for me. Hey, that's a good comeback because it's truthful, it's honest. Hey, for the right girl, sure. Because when you say something like that, it says you're putting qualifications. It communicates that you're selective. If I met the right girl, yeah, I'd settle down. If I met the right girl, I might get married. If I met the right girl, I might move in and have babies with her. Whatever happens to be. Whatever floats your boat. I want you to be happy making decisions for your own life. He says, I wanted to assure her I was serious. So it also puts her in the position where, ooh, I'm going to try to win him over. Because if you're selective, it means you can be selective. It means you have other choices. But you're not going to just settle for the first cute girl that comes along. He says, after hearing that she was skeptical about seeing me, but it seems she wanted to see where this relationship led, so we agreed to see each other. Yeah, a little too much focusing on the relationship. You could tell, I got to lock this girl down. She's my dream girl. Puts her on a pedestal a little bit. Extra nice, extra compliant, trying too hard. Because deep down, he doesn't feel he's worthy. He doesn't feel he's good enough. And guys that don't feel they're good enough, they act needy. They're always seeking approval. Does she still like me? Is she still into me? I noticed that her texts are kind of trailing off the last few days, and there's a lack of enthusiasm. I got to get her to be more enthusiastic. Let me spend more time. Let me try to engage her more in conversation and get her to converse more with me. These are the things that a needy guy tells himself instead of, oh, cool, she's kind of backed off. She must be busy doing other things. You know what? I spent the whole weekend with her, and I'm not as excited about seeing her as I was Friday night, even though we spent the whole weekend together. It was amazing. But I got a lot of shit to do this week. I got things I got to take care of, and I'm glad to have that time that she's busy doing her thing, and now I can get busy doing mine. That's how a man who's got his shit together is going to react. He's like, all right, I got some peace. I got peace and quiet for a few days. I know it's horrible, but it's true. She showed no sign of boredom, and she responded every single time, and she even took the conversation further. I was ecstatic. Well, obviously she had high interest in you to start with. But at the same time, I started to get worried that I was coming off as needy. You're in a fearful state because you didn't know the fundamentals. He says, I considered holding off contacting her for a day, but then she would contact me first. So he's taking some kind of corrective action, recognize I'm doing too much too soon, I'm trying too hard. Trying to get her to notice me, trying to figure out if she still likes me. And obviously, the problem with this situation is that as his attraction grows, he becomes more fearful and more uncertain. And that causes him to apply more action, more forceful action, to be more smothering. Instead of just, hey, You got to give the other person the time and the space away from you to wonder about you, to think about you, but also to choose you mutually. If she likes you, she'll continue to make the effort. And if she doesn't, she'll just fade away. You want a girl who's not going to fade away. You want a girl who appreciates the space and who will make more of an effort to see if she can facilitate the two of you getting together. Hence, she puts herself into your orbit through a phone call or a text or an email or a message on social media, whatever it happens to be. Sometimes she would tell me she misses me and would invite me over to her home. We had sex a couple of times. We met frequently, about 2 to 3 times a week. So this is good at this point, but the problem is that you're not allowing her to completely come to you at her pace. She reaches out more. You just simply use those as opportunities to set more dates, and then you spend more time together. And as you spend more time together, it's really the result of her reaching out to you. Because women aren't typically going to call you up and say, hey, let's get together and do something. They will sometimes, but they usually want the guy to be the leader. You're the driver of the fun bus. After a month of frequently seeing each other, I noticed my feelings had grown for her exponentially. And this is where it starts going sideways. And I started to show more affection physically. So now you're touching her when she's not really ready to be touched. And that's where the book can really help you, is all the little points of contact and the things that a woman does when she's feeling attracted and wants to be closer. She bumps into you. She stands extra close to you. She touches your arm. She leans in when you're across the table from one another. She reaches over and touches your hand or takes your hand. And when these little things happen when you're on a date and you're spending time together, then you just slowly pull her in and reciprocate slowly. The idea is you go a little bit slower than she's going. Because as her sexual attraction and anticipation grows, you're slowly reciprocating. You're not in a rush. Guys who are not in a rush are guys who have lots of choices and who are selective. They're like, I like you, but I'm not too sure about you yet. I want to see how things go over time. They're patient because they know that patience pays. Haste makes waste. However, when I attempted to kiss her, she said she was shy and that it was awkward. Well, that actually is a true statement, but he just doesn't understand what it means. You're trying to kiss her and she's not ready to be kissed. At this point, you're trying to force yourself onto her. And therefore, it is awkward. But she doesn't understand why it feels awkward. The reason it feels awkward is because you're trying too much too soon. You're trying to kiss her when she's simply not open to being kissed. Again, this is why you read the book 10 to 15 times. He says, I didn't understand what she meant by that. What did I just say? And I told her that she would feel more comfortable in time. Well, you try to use a rationalization and logic there. Instead of recognizing, you know what, I'm coming on too strong, I'm being smothering, I'm being a little needy, and I'm trying to force things, and therefore she's backing off. So I need to chillax. Doesn't mean you chillax permanently. It might just be an hour or two or a half hour. Sit, talk, see how she is, get her to open up, get her to talk more. This is what's going to cause her to feel more attraction and move towards you. And then you can kiss. He says, but after a month, she called me to say she wanted to end this. I'm shocked. Shocked, I tell you. She told me she realized she liked me because I was so nice to her. You're so nice. But not because for the man I was. I was heartbroken and asked her to reconsider to get to know me more, using more logic and reason, but she refused. She continued to say that she felt guilty for not being able to reciprocate because I was so considerate and nice. You're so nice. And she was worried that I would feel hurt if I didn't get affection from her. Basically, that's her way of saying, you're a needy, insecure, smothering jackass, and I need my freedom. She said her heart wasn't in the same place as I was yet. In other words, you're way more into me, dude, than you should be, and you're way more into me than I am into you. And women care about how they feel. They don't really give a shit about how much you super duper like them. And she wasn't sure about this relationship, which was why she decided to end it. Well, she's sure at that point. She's sure she's totally turned off. She said the timing wasn't just right. Sounds legit, does it? The timing wasn't right. Well, partially, that's correct. If you look at it from this perspective of you're trying to do too much too soon. In other words, you didn't give it enough time to blossom. You tried to rush it, and after a month, she's like, all right, fuck this, I'm out of here. He says, when we broke up, she told me that she was doing this because there was a moment when she realized I wasn't the man she wanted to be with because of what happened the previous night. The previous night, we had sex without protection. So you went in the raw. I should have worn a condom, but it happened in the heat of passion and I ejaculated outside of her. She immediately rushed to the other room to take a after-sex birth control pill. She told me it was at that moment she realized that she didn't want any chance of getting pregnant with me, and that I made her realize I wasn't the one for her. Pretty obvious. So again, too much, too soon, too smothering, and now she's risking getting pregnant. It's not because of the almost getting pregnant thing. It's because that was like a trigger. In other words, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. After hearing this, I was stunned and couldn't reply with a comeback. Come on, man. You shouldn't be stunned if you've been watching all these videos, bro. Such a shame. He says she continued on to say that she felt that she was into me because I was so good to her, but not for the man I was. I told her that her feelings will grow as time passes, which that's actually true, but now you're trying to reason with her, and this has all to do with her emotions and how she feels about you. And you're getting in the way of her falling for you because you're trying too hard, trying to do too much, trying to be extra nice, because deep down, you don't think you deserve her. And you're acting this way. And she wants an equal. She wants a teammate. She wants a guy that's got confidence, and you're not displaying confidence. You're acting like a poussoir. But she said she just didn't want to continue this relationship. I didn't know what else to say, so I replied that if her heart feels that way, I'd understand. I told her to reach back to me if she changes her mind. That's the right approach, right out of 7 Principles to Get an X-Pack, which you can Google that article and video. And if you're in this situation, I highly recommend you get really familiar with the article and the video, because there's a lot of things in there how to handle objections when she does come back. He says, I believe she panicked when I ejaculated without a condom, and she wasn't ready for that situation with a man she was only developing feelings for. Well, that's partially true. You're using that as like, oh, I didn't use a condom and that's why we broke up. No, you turned her off, dude. She wasn't feeling it because you didn't give her enough time and space away from you. That's why in the book it teaches you shouldn't do more than 20 to 30% of the calling, texting, and pursuing. And the same thing applies on a date. She should be doing most of the bumping into you and the touching and being near you and just letting her be, just like a cat. You're amused by the cat as it goes and it roams the room because, you know, in a little while it's going to come back and sit in my lap, and I'm not worried about it. I believe my irresponsible behavior put her off and she got hurt because of my actions, and that drove her away. Dude, what drove her away was you acting like a needy, insecure jackass, and the fact that you're saying that, you know what, you get another, come on, man. Come on, man. That's what you're rationalizing. That wasn't my approach. The problem is you're acting needy, you're insecure, you're way over pursuing this girl, and you're doing the opposite of what the book teaches. I was hurt by her saying that she didn't want any chance of getting pregnant with me. Understandably, we dated for only a month, so I sent her a long text about how hurtful it was to hear such a thing, to which she apologized. It's like, don't make a girl your therapist, dude. You're acting like a bitch. Sorry, but not sorry. That's reality. Don't act like a bitch. Don't act like a mangina unless you want to be treated like one. She ended the text by saying that her heart wasn't there yet and didn't want to feel guilty by keeping seeing me. She told me I was a great person. You're so great. And that she was glad to have met me but didn't want to take this further. She's the girl of my dreams, and when I met the one I've met in over 5 years, is there any chance of winning back her heart? Well, first off, you need to stop thinking that way. Second off, you need to look at it as if she needs to earn another chance with you, not the other way around. Don't call, don't text her for any reason ever again. If she reaches out, assume she wants to see you, invite her to your house to make dinner together, hang out, have fun, hook up, stop talking about a relationship, read the book 10 to 15 times, actually follow instructions for a change. He says, please, I know I didn't do as you're teaching, but this girl is the girl of my dreams. Well, it's like you're putting her on a pedestal and treating her like a celebrity. And therefore, what did she do? She treated you like an ugly groupie. That's what it is. You didn't give her enough time to develop feelings because you were in a rush, because you were afraid of losing her. Any harsh advice and feedback to get her back would be greatly appreciated. Again, 7 principles get an ex back. Read the article, watch the video, memorize it. Immerse yourself in 3% Man. And for those of you who haven't read it yet, you can read it for free at understandingrelationships.com. All you gotta do is subscribe to the email newsletter. Don't be like this guy. Let her do all the calling, texting, pursuing, dude. When you hear from her, make dates. The first 3 dates, the next 3 dates, have to all be at your place. She has to come to you, or you're going to have to withdraw the offer. This is how you help display dominance, and that you are not going to be so easy to get back. It causes her to actually work to get you back. This engages her emotions and makes her like you more. And if she likes you more and her emotions get engaged, guess what? She's going to be all over your ass like white on rice. That's what you want. You want a girl that's just like a giant sucker fish that just sticks herself to you. That's what they do. You can't get rid of them. And then they assimilate you. They're like the Borg. Resistance is futile. Lower your shields. You will be assimilated. We will combine your biological likeness with our own. If you've ever seen Star Trek, one of the old villains. Women are like the Borg. If you treat them properly, you won't be able to get rid of them. And then this kind of shit, you'll never have to worry about these kind of things ever happening again. And so if you'd like to get my help personally, you're in a similar situation, you're scratching your head, you're going, what the hell do I do? And you'd like to talk to me, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen on any page of my website, and book a coaching session. And until next time, I will talk to you soon.